aka Lady Fitzgerald. And welcome back to Friday Tips. I am so happy that you decided to come back for another episode. Last week, we talked about gratitude, and this week, we're going to kind of change and have a little more serious note, and we're going to talk about grief. Grief is something that we all deal with all the time, and so I just thought it might be something that we can give a little nod to. Diving right in, the definition of grief is deep sorrow, especially that's caused by someone's death. I thought it was important to kind of touch on grief because grief is something that we all deal with at one point or another, whether it's grief from the loss of a loved one, grief from losing a job, grief from, losing the way you used to live your life. We're all definitely impacted with grief at this time. There's a lot of difficult things happening and it can be really hard. Like, how do I deal with my grief? And I'm here to say, I don't know. There is no right or wrong way to deal with grief. Everyone has their own process. So I'm just here to tell you that you are valid, that your feelings are valid, that your grief and your hurt is valid, and that there is room and space for you in the world to feel your feels and to process what you're going through, no matter what kind of grief it is. There's no grief that is too big or too small. And I'm just here to say I love you and support you in whatever you're going through. I know for me, one way that I deal with grief is to try to check in with myself and really ask for what I need. I think grief already puts you in such a vulnerable space. So why not also ask for what you want in the time? And I don't mean bring me a chicken sandwich. I mean in the sense of if you need space, you can say hey friends, I need space. If you're I need love, it can be, hey friends, I really need extra love right now. If it is I'm not able to cook my own meals, can someone help me? Asking for help is so hard. I totally understand. And then add grief on top of that, it can be crumbling. So my advice or my suggestion is just to try to stay in tune with how you're feeling and what you need. But again, I'm not a professional, that may work for you, that may not. And so I'm definitely not here to try to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you that I love you and that I'm support you and I'm here for you. And the quote on grief that I have this week is by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. I might have said that wrong. Sorry, Elizabeth. She does death and grief studies. And her quote is, "The reality is that you will grieve forever. You will not get over the loss of a loved one. You will learn to live with it. You will heal and you will rebuild yourself around the loss you have suffered. You will be whole again, but you will never be the same. Nor should you be the same, nor would you want to." Which I think is so beautiful and a great reminder that loss, no matter what kind of loss it is, this is talking about loss of a person, you really will never be the same, but it's gonna change you. And usually, it takes time, but it can change you for the better. And you learn a lot, and there are lessons learned in that. And not saying that you did something bad and you deserved it, but we're ever changing and evolving. And with this grief and with this loss, I would hope that I would change and somehow and learn to either appreciate things differently or just look at the world differently. But again, it just depends on each person. Thank you for joining me. Grief can be a touchy subject. If you want to leave a comment about ways that you have dealt with grief, even just words of support for people who may be grieving, maybe something that you would want to say to someone from your own experience, or just words of encouragement, are highly appreciated. So thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Friday Tips. I'm Sarah, aka Lady Fitzgerald, and we'll see you next time. Bye!